This is the beginning of the end. Let us applaud Serap. Let us applaud Serap because Serap is actually doing the Lord's work. They are doing God's work. That is what it is. I want you to pay attention from the beginning of this video till the end of it. Something is about to happen. And when I say happen, I mean this government, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is set. In fact, it is on the track to take massive, serious action. It is not a Emefiele alone that will be tried, that will be dumped in DSS dungeon or custody, interrogated. No, not at all. Yes, you will be surprised. Who is this next person? I'm talking about the past president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari. You know, there is this practice that you cannot query, question, probe past presidents. Maybe vice presidents could be ridiculed, like how Obasanjo did to his vice president Atiku. Is it that all through the years that Obasanjo spent, he had never in any way, or he has never in any way committed any form of looting, crime in the form of looting? Is there anything that you can look or point to and say, yes, Obasanjo is involved in this? I'm sure there are a lot of things that you can look into. But right now, as it is, Mr. President is not taking anything lightly anymore. Buhari is not going to settle down in Daura. No. Buhari is not going to sit down with his cows. He is coming back to Abuja to answer to what? What happened to the repatriated loot funds that they got back from Abacha? You know, it started with Obasanjo. They repatriated a lot of money, and they kept repatriating the money all through Goodluck Ebele Johnathan's era down to this government. A lot of money were brought back. But where is this money? What was it used for? It's like there is no effect. They are talking about the money. We cannot see. We cannot even say this is what this money has been used for. And according to the Ministry of Finance, they say they do not have records. They don't keep records of repatriated funds. What does that mean? No accountability, lack of integrity. And the Ministry of Finance will not do this by themselves. This is coming from the presidency, exactly connected to certain groups of people. In fact, what is about to happen will connect to Obasanjo too. Obasanjo is going to answer. Goodluck Ebele Johnathan is going to answer. What happened to this and this and that? It is not about witch hunting, but right now, the first that will be looked at, that the DSS will be inviting for questioning, it is not an arrest, so it won't appear like Buhari is going to go to jail. No, he's going to come to tell the whole world what happened. You are the president, right? What happened under your watch? What happened to these millions of dollars that were brought back from several parts of Europe? According to the past Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, he said this loot should not be called loot. He said these are repatriated funds that Abacha simply helped to save those money over there in fear that the United States were going to invade. I want you to stay put to the end of this video. It is about to go down. We are going to listen to some analysis, and we are going to do analysis ourselves from the beginning of it to the end of it. Stay put so that we'll know where we are facing next. But before we proceed, like and share this video. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so. Returning subscribers and those that have been here, I say thank you for returning and thank you for being here. If you want to go an extra mile to encourage us, just tap on the subscription and thanks button. Let us get right into it.
This judgment, they're saying that it should comply within 7 days. What's going to happen if there's no compliance?
Number one, yes, I agree with you absolutely. That is a big win for Serap, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, a civil society group, a non-governmental organization that has been very active, that has been in the forefront of raising questions about the economy, about accountability, and using the Freedom of Information Act majorly as a tool of engaging the Nigerian state. Now, the major issue here It's about the right of the citizen to know.
Yes.
Because we have the right to know. So when you say it is our money, what you are saying also is that the people who are the owners of the money have the right to know how that money was spent. That's number one. Number two, it's also a reminder of the kind of corruption that went on under General Sani Abacha. As the Nigerian government, one after the other, got money either from Switzerland or the Cayman Islands or from New Jersey. Abacha got a new title as the ancestor that is always given from the grave, because it looks like there was no end, to the amount of money that had been stashed away, which is also why in many of these African countries, and also at the level of the AU, this illicit illicit transfer of national treasure to banks overseas, to safe havens, has been a major problem. Now, let me go back to the point about how it's a triumph for Serap in terms of using the Freedom of Information Act. Justice James Omotosho based the ruling on Section 7 of the Freedom of Information Act. Section 7 of the Freedom of Information Act simply says that, look, if a public institution is going to deny access to information that is being requested, now you must state reasons why you are not granting that access. And you must communicate same to the body or group that is asking for that information, the applicant, seeking access to that particular information. If you do not do so, you are liable under that Section 7 of the Freedom of Information Act to a fine of 500,000 naira, and the applicant can seek redress in court. So what Serap has done is to go to court, and the court has now ruled that the Ministry of Finance cannot avail itself of the provisions of Section 7 of the Freedom of Information Act. So it's simply, a matter of law, and the expectation is that the Ministry of Finance must respect the ruling of the court. Okay, it has the option of going on appeal, but the ruling of the Court of Justice Omotosho for now is that within 7 days, it must comply. What the court has done is to stress accountability, is to hold the Ministry of Finance down to the people's right to know how their money was spent. It was looted, it was returned, how was it spent? I think, the ruling is very straightforward, and it is, it is something that will gladden the hearts of many people who have been seeking enforcement of freedom of information. And many people must be alarmed that the Federal Ministry of Finance will say it has no records.
This is my question.
No, how can the Ministry of Finance of Nigeria not have records?
Yes, this is it.
This is the bigger question.
Now, can you see where we are heading into? This is not a joke. This is not a joke. We are talking about serious cancer in Nigeria. It is so cancerous, lack of integrity. There was a time that Buhari was talking about this central account where all funds, repatriated loot and any other will be put into, so that they will be able to have this framework, this structure that will not give room or permit looting. But unfortunately, we heard about padding, adding extra, and also ghost workers. And they are not dealing with, they are not just dealing with this on a low profile. They are doing it in at a massive, when I say massive, a lot is happening in the civil service of Nigeria. Apart from money, I'm talking about the federal level, apart from money that they still claiming that they did this, they do that, they will not do this, they will do this. A lot of things are happening that needs to be looked into. A lot needs to be shut down. Nigeria is bleeding, and it is bleeding to a point where it could, finish and end Let us hear more. Let us hear more.
How did that happen, Rufai? I mean, you talked about some of the loot that had been returned, I believe one from Jersey, and then I think that they had shared that money in that social register. I don't know if you recall that. I think that was 2 years ago.
I mean, a lot was done with the money.
With that money. But you know, this is the first time that we are seeing that it's $5 billion that aggregate, because, you know, there was a lot of discrepancy whether it was 3 billion or whether...
Yeah, so...
I mean, it's good that we are seeing this
I
now.
mean, so Serap says 5 billion. God knows it could be more.
Yeah.
Because what we know was that the monies they started returning from the early 1999 to 2000. Swiss government returned a couple, 750 million, you know, in trickles. I think there was an infographic by the BBC a couple of years ago that says 3.25 billion. We don't know how much exactly is the money. I remember the case you were talking about, Malami, the last tranche of return. They said the government was going to be put into some highway, I think Abuja Kano highway, and the condition and all of that, which a lot of people kicked against, but they said those were the conditions. And I think the Attorney General there, Malami, defended it. And we had all of this go on for a while. The question is, we deceive ourselves too much in this country. Because you ask a question, how did the money go out? The bagmen that helped him carry that money out, they're still around in Nigeria today. They're living a good life, and life has moved on. We all know what happens in this country. So people are not corrupt alone. They do it with other bagmen. I help them bag the money out, and they're free people today. And the truth has to be said. If we truly want to build this country, let us have a country that has a lot of integrity. We can laugh about it and say, oh, Abacha now is our ancestor sending us money. But this is the money they ought to use to build schools and do infrastructure for people. Some of these monies were carried in cash out of this country.
So sad.
We all remember. And this was a man. Abacha got in 1993 after he removed the National from Fidihe, and he died on the 8th of June 1998. In 5 years, he bled the country dry. Do you know how many more people are bleeding the country with their bagmen? Is this one? Maybe it's because of the magnanimity of the foreign nations that say, oh, come and see, you have money here. What if we never got? Do you know how many? The chance. And we're saying Nigeria is broke, is poor. Because people are fleecing the country dry every day. People and their bagmen that are still around are moving everywhere. Wasn't the foreign leader that once said, when we're asking for debt relief, and the foreign leader said, if you check the bank accounts of Nigerians abroad, you would not even want to forgive Nigeria's debts. And the money was put in every part, Switzerland, Jersey, and all of that. But their accomplices are around, and we move on, and we celebrate them in society. You see, this country is a country that we've built in such a way that only favors those that are on the top, and those below can go and die. But except we change our status quo, nothing will change. Yes. So for your question that you asked, how did the money move around? The bagmen are still very much around, and life has moved on from there. Yes. Well, and I'm also happy, Serap is, as Dr. Bati said, asking for FY to be able to get all the details of this and all of that. But the sad reality is, as we speak, maybe in the future, when we get to look back, a lot of something is still happening. It's Nigeria. It's the corruption. The day we change that mentality and use the money for the citizen, Nigeria will be better. Yes. We can actually build a great country. Yes, but we see what happens because of corruption.
Well, you have heard it all. You have heard it all. What is your suggestion? Do you think this government is ready to work? Do you think this government is ready and set to do the right thing, to put things right? Is it moving slowly? Are there certain things that the government cannot do? I'm talking about this president due to past, history. Do you think Peter Obi would have done better? Do you think Peter Obi would have been able to mash the face of people like Obasanjo if he is coming through the support of people like Obasanjo? Do you think Obasanjo is a man that has high level of integrity? Do you think he will be able to match the face of Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired? Do you think that Peter Obi will be able to do all of these things? I mean, call all of these people to book and make it clear to them that he is not here for stupidity. If he's going to spend 8 years, he's ready to sacrifice his life and everything for it. Or you think Mr. Emilokon is the right person for this job? A man who cannot be controlled. A man who has no godfather. A man who has nobody that can, tell him to shut up. I'm talking about the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Your opinions are highly appreciated. It is, in fact, this is the time for us to do justice to it. It's very important. Let us dig deep into this issue, into this matter as it is. Like and share this video. Subscribe to this channel. See you in the next update.